What's up, everyone? We're about to get started. Hold on, let me type this up. What's up? What's up? We have a bunch of people joining. How's it going? How's it going? Hello. Oh man, I probably should have messaged Nicole before I started. How's everybody doing? Oh, I see her. Oh, I see her. Hey. How do you guys feel about just getting started? Let's go ahead and do this right now. Let's go. All day, Ray. What's up, man? Wow, we have so many people showing up. How's everybody doing? You guys ready to talk about some DPDR? Talking about how to make it go away? Before we make it go away, what I really want to do is talk about what's happening, why it's happening. Okay, so with that said, Nicole, can you send me a request? Fee, I see you. Hey, Zoe. What's up? What's up? Hello. All right, guys. So Nicole, go ahead and send me a message, and in the meantime, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about. I think you just did. Did I get it? I feel like I haven't done this in forever, so it's been a while. Nicole,
Hi. Whoa.
how's it going? Can everybody see Nicole?
Just let me better here. Or I can just. Hello. Nice to
Hey,
see you.
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I haven't talked to you in forever.
No, I know. It's been a while.
Where have you been? What are you up to?
Wow. I've been working a lot.
Yeah,
But I love it though.
you love it. You
Yeah.
enjoy it?
Can you hear me? When
I can hear you. I can kind of see you though. Like I can see like.
Okay. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can everybody else hear you?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. So Nicole, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about DPDR,
Mm-hmm.
how it feels like, how the recovery journey was like. I experienced DPDR a lot in my journey too.
Yeah.
So here's how I describe it. Depersonalization feels like this out of body experience. It feels like you're not in your own body. It feels like you're almost like a robot. It
Mm-hmm.
almost feels like you're like watching your body and you're watching your mind.
Yes.
And derealization to me felt like nothing was real.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like this
Like.
was all fake, and I was like, well, I don't know if this is real or not.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I would feel like there was like a glass panel between me and the outside world, and
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, and sometimes it would almost feel like I was watching everything through like a movie theater screen.
Yeah. Mm.
And there's some people that experience it like 24/7. There's
Mm-hmm.
some people that have it happen in certain situations, like driving.
Yeah.
And how people fall into the cycle is different. Like I find, and Nicole, you know this too.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people fall in through smoking weed, or some people just have a bad panic attack and they're experiencing bad DPDR. Um, so tell me, Nicole, like how did it all fall in? Like how did it happen for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's um I'm so excited, by the way, to be here.
I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah, so many people.
It's another excuse to see you because I haven't talked to you in forever.
Yeah. Okay. For me, it was definitely like built up over time, the anxiety, because I was dealing with a lot of stress, like in my personal life and in my work environment, and yeah, I basically had like the perfect recipe for disaster.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, one day I just like, um, or one evening, I would say, I start feeling super weird, and everything around me felt like, yeah, it felt unreal. Like, what the fuck
Mhm.
is? Um, so that's where I got panicked, and that's where it all started. Nothing was the same, and that's where my journey began. So yeah, it was incredibly so confusing at the time, since I didn't know what was happening and I was suffering a lot. Um, but you make all the mistakes in the beginning since you don't happening. So I did like seeing different doctors, therapists. I was checking up like my brain, my heart, everything. But I would say derealization was one of my main symptoms. That's why I want to talk today. And to all of you that's watching, you feel free to ask me questions or Shaan during this live.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Feel free to like post your questions. We'll answer them. Now, fast forward. Okay, like I want to talk about what happened in between, but like, how are you doing now?
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
Incredibly good. Like I live life, and it's like it's crazy because I couldn't imagine being where I am right now, and it took like to a point where I saw my recovery as a blessing. Like I did so much self work with myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I started to build the life that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So to all the people that's watching, I don't want to sound too spiritual, but I think the universe has a plan for all of you. And
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Um, but I get what you're saying. Like, I don't really say that because I don't know. I always feel like anxiety sufferers are very creative,
mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
imaginative. And sometimes when I talk too esoterically, they're like, "What? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening to me?" And I
I
think
know.
they start. I mean, I don't know. I started questioning a lot of like, what is existence? What is this? What is that? When I was going through my anxiety, like when I was going through DPDR, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I always felt like there was like this. I don't know. There's like this negativity that I had too in my journey. So, like I don't know. I felt so numb. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing that I think one of the best starting points is to recognize that it's an offset of the anxiety. And I think that's a lot of people have kind of confusions about because when you're experiencing DPDR, depersonalization, derealization, guys, it's like you may be thinking, yeah, but I'm not feeling anxious about anything.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not anxious though, Shaan. So, like, how is it being caused by anxiety? And you feel like doctors say that too. Oh, it's just anxiety.
Yeah,
But when I say it's that it's driven by anxiety. And
exactly.
anxiety isn't the state of, a lot of people define anxiety as just an emotion, which I get that. But there's also something that, you and I discuss a lot, which is sensitization, where your nervous system has become very sensitive and
Mm-hmm.
the stress response happens. And then when the
That's
stress response happens, good. Yeah,
mm.
good.
Oh no, I said that's why you get stuck because of the sensitization.
Exactly, exactly. So you get stuck because you're sensitized, and then you just get so overwhelmed that your freeze response is like, "Yo, like we need a."
Yeah,
It's like a mental airbag. That
exactly.
it's like an
Mm-hmm.
airbag that happens. It's like, "Yo, we just need to protect you." Now, if somebody doesn't know what's happening, and then they're experiencing that, and they're
Yeah,
like, "What the hell is happening?" And so even though you may not feel quote unquote anxious in terms of emotion, it's being fueled by that stress response, by your nervous system being sensitized. Um,
exactly.
Now, I wanted to ask, how was your recovery? Obviously, I know because I was with you. But, and can I say, and I always say this, Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
you always did a really good job. I remember there was a point I was telling the members in my mentorship yesterday that like typically how it looks like is I tell you that you're doing a good job, but you're still like feeling really high DPDR. But
Yeah,
then the DPDR goes away later. It's like I can like foresee it based on the response. And I always told you, Nicole,
yeah,
like I don't know if you remember, always I was like, you're doing really well.
yeah.
Uh,
I
so
remember.
yeah, you do, right? Yeah, you did
It's
good.
really like I know. I remember when you and Caesar talked about this. Like you kept coming back in layers. It was very gradual for me. Like I could see myself coming back in layers. Like
Mhm.
when I saw myself like recovered, that's when I was living my life exactly the same when before, when it
Yeah.
all happened. So even though I had symptoms, I was living my life again, and I didn't really. I was even bothered by the symptoms, and then it happens to just go away. So, um, what was I gonna say? You asked me something. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, like, how was the journey
Yeah.
like for you? You know, because I know it was like a long journey, and like you said, you kind of mentioned it. It
Hmm.
happens in waves, right? And that's
Yeah.
what people think. They're like, a lot of people think that, you know, you just like wake up and it's gone,
Yeah.
or like it just gets better linearly. Like, you know it, right? It's like up and down, and then
Yeah.
like each time there's like different layers to uncover. Like I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but like, you know, like even going to certain parties and stuff like that, you're like, Shaan, it really happens like late at night, or like if I'm out like in a, you know, where
Yeah.
there's a lot of lights and stuff like that. Like, and I was just like, just keep going, you know, that'll go away too.
Yeah.
And that was some of the layers as well.
So
Um,
I didn't think the journey would look like that. Like in the beginning, I was always checking in. It was like, oh, do I feel now or do I not? And it's like until you just don't. It's like it's so hard to describe, but yeah, definitely like coming back in layers, and you notice you like don't have it that extreme, or
yeah.
like if I made a couple of like job interviews when I was totally spaced out. I was like, okay, now I know the DPDR is coming.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I'm gonna prepare for this. And right after, it's like, boom, away. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's just your nervous system, like, and it goes away.
It goes away. I know. I know. Somebody asked a really good question, which was, how did you know you were getting better? I think you kind of alluded to it, but can you describe a little bit more? Like, how would you describe when you noticed things were getting better on your journey?
It was when I started to do all the things that I was avoiding before, like being in environment that was triggering for my DPDR. And when I was going into those situations, even though I felt it a little bit, I didn't care. That's
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, now I make progress. So I would say to all of you that are experiencing DR or DP or both, whatever, um, like just go with the flow, and it's a natural process. It's not going to happen by one night or so. It's going to be like a real journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, I think for those that like want to know how they notice they get better, here's how I notice it, and like it's different, right? Because I'm like guiding people where I was guiding like Nicole, which is the
Yeah.
DPDR is there, and your focus is really on the DPDR right in the beginning. You're like, I don't know why this is there, so you really hyper focus on it. I know people start getting better when they start focusing on other things and
Hmm.
letting the DPDR there. The DPDR is still there. And so what
Hmm.
will happen is your attention will focus on other things, and you'll be like, wait, I have DPDR. And then I'll look back and be like, okay, it's still there. And then the answer is, yeah, just keep focusing on other things. And then what happens is that like you start focusing on other things, and then it kind of like disappears.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, where'd it go? And then you're like, oh, whoa, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And then, but it'll come back. You're like, oh, it's back. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm just going to keep focusing. And then what happens, it just kind of goes away. And then you look back and you're like, wait, when did it go away?
I,
And it'll only pop up then at like more stressful situations. And
hmm.
you're like, oh, hey, it's back. And then you just keep focusing, and then it disappears. And then like, it's just
Yeah.
gone.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
that's how I find, not just with DPDR, but with a lot of the symptoms. I think like it's one of those, DPDR tends to be, this is the general rule of thumb. This isn't everybody, but it tends to be one of the last things to go away for people. That's not always the case. There's some people, but you know, that's what I've always found.
Yeah.
Um,
And I have like all the things that accords to DPDR, like the vision, like the glass feeling, like
yeah,
eyes myself in the mirror, everything. But it was like in the same, like yeah, in layers it goes off, and then I know started to like, yeah, now I recognize myself again in the mirror, nice. And
Yeah.
now I it sounds, I hope that it's only anxiety people here today. Otherwise I'm insane.
No. Yeah, no, it's all people struggling with DPDR. It's more specified. I think it's people struggling exclusively with DPDR.
Yeah.
But I know, when I had it, see, like
Mm,
when I fell into the cycle, panic attacks, physical, and then I got these feelings of disconnect, and I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. Like
yeah.
I was like, okay, no. If it was physical, that's one thing. If it's this, and
Yeah.
I remember, I thought I was possessed. I literally had a conversation with my dad, and I was like, Dad,
Yeah.
am I possessed? Do you know how to do an exorcism? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, Dad, I don't know. I feel weird. I'm seeing myself from outside. And my dad was like,
Yeah.
dude,
Mm,
you're fine. You know that, right? And I was like, I'm not okay. And like, it was just like really, man, at that time, I was so lost.
yeah.
And it was so scary, especially when you don't know what's happening.
Mm.
And you
The
know what I
most
think yeah, go ahead.
like, the most difficult thing for me was to focus on another person when they were speaking. It was like
Yeah.
it was I was doing better when I was the one talking, but when I was listening to somebody, I was like, okay, stay normal, be here. Okay, try to focus. It's like, oh, it's a full-time job, you know. It's like it's so crazy.
Well, you get so internally focused and you kind of zone out. It's an attention thing. It's not
Yeah.
really like it's just your attention focuses, right? No, I totally get it. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember I used to give like presentations a little bit too, and like there would be times I would just zone out. But like I would zone out and I'd come back and I'm like, what am I talking about?
Mm.
And I remember I was teaching. So one of the things I was doing, because I wasn't working, Nicole, I don't think I ever told you this, but what I would do is I would teach people how to get their GEDs, and GEDs is essentially a high school diploma. So I
Mm.
was working with some communities where they didn't have even a high school diploma, so they weren't able to work in a lot of places. So
Okay.
we set up, like my dad actually set it up. He set it up with and we worked with like marginalized communities to like help them get degrees so that they can, go
Mm.
into further education. And so what I would do is I would teach those classes. So I would teach math, science, all these things,
Yeah.
and there'd be times I would zone out. And then
Mm.
what would happen was I would have to it was being recorded, so I would like watch the replays and I couldn't, and I thought I was zoning out, and I kind of was, but I
Mm.
couldn't catch it on my replays.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was just so in my head. I was like, oh my God, everybody can see me. Like, everyone knows I'm zoning out. Everyone knows I'm going crazy. But then when I would watch my own replays, I couldn't identify when I did that. It
I
was just
know.
one of those wild things.
It's crazy what you can do when you go through something like this. Like nobody knows, nobody noticed you're nervous, or yeah, you are the one that's in that
Yeah.
situation. Mm.
What would you tell somebody who feels like they're just super unique? Like they're so bewildered by these symptoms and sensations
Mm.
that even when they hear other people that have gotten better, they're like, yeah, but like I feel like the exception. I feel like these symptoms are just so weird. What would you tell somebody? Uh,
Yeah. Like I was the one. I was like that also. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna be the one that's going to be stuck in 10 years or blah blah blah.
yeah,
Um, but I would say just trust the statistics. Like you have so much success stories, and like we talked about before, you don't see success stories like on the internet. So just try to trust that you are going to get better, but don't put any like timeline on yourself. Don't compare yourself to somebody else, because you're special. You can't be like, let's say, Rebecca or somebody else.
yeah,
Um, just know you're gonna get better, and like I said before, see this time as a progress on yourself and as self growth. You're going to be a better person. So focus on what you want and what kind of like life you want, what friendships, relationships, and everything, so you can come out even stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like we always talk about like, I always talk about being more grateful after. Like it's like
Mhm.
I went back to living, but I had like a deeper level of gratefulness. Because
Yeah.
I genuinely felt like, especially like Nicole, like God, I really didn't get the help that I needed,
Yeah.
and I felt
You
like, huh?
you and Claire Weeks, huh? Best friends.
Yeah, I mean, Claire Riggs helped me. Paul David helped me.
Yeah.
Dare I think came out a little bit after. So, um, if I think Michelle Kavanaugh's here, she, I just think I missed her when she was, with the whole Dare method. But I remember, I honestly feel like I kind of stumbled across recovery. I
Hmm.
made a lot of mistakes, but it made me so much more grateful. I always say like it gave me. It's like I'm living a second life
Yeah.
that I
Exactly.
honestly didn't know I was gonna have.
Yeah.
And what that does is that even the smallest things, like I have so much gratitude for. Like it's like, cause and maybe I sound a little too like weird
No,
when the case,
like
but I wanted
uh,
to know your case. Go ahead.
it's like some kind of awakening in some way.
Right?
Hmm.
I just feel like there's a gratitude. There's like a, oh my God, like I came out of this. I'm lucky. And then not only that, there were so many character flaws I had to adjust.
Yeah.
Like I was really big on grinding and hustling and pushing through. I would like watch like these motivational videos of these people being like, "Don't give up. Like you got this. You're not a failure. Like the only failures are the ones that quit." Like I used to like watch those videos and be really inspired. And I thought that was part of the reason too that made me fall into the cycle. And
Yeah.
so I had to like adjust and I had to be like, no, like life is a balance,
Yeah.
and those kind of things. And I felt like, just experiencing like it was the small things.
Most
Yeah,
like successful people has gone through some kind of like hard time
yeah.
and can't go through life like a fairy tale. You need to like life is the, I'm sorry, but it is. And so yeah.
One of the other things I've also found, and I'm curious because I feel like the people that recover and they talk to each other, like
Hmm.
it's very few, right? Like, but I've always felt like, I went through it really rough. And Nicole, I was throughout your whole journey.
Yeah.
It was really rough for you. Do you feel like when you get better a little bit, like sometimes like you talk about your story, but you seem so normal and happy that
Mhm.
like people don't almost believe you? Where you're
Yeah.
like, no, guys, I had it really rough one point.
I
Has
know.
that happened?
It's I know. Do you hear me good, by the way?
I can hear you great. Can everybody hear? Can everyone hear Nicole? I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It sounds so like small when you try to tell every like somebody about it. It's like, yeah, I gone through this, I felt like this, but yeah, it turned out to be pretty good. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, I've been through like a similar thing. Like, no, you have. Okay, you don't.
Yeah, yeah. Um, going back to yeah, go ahead.
No, nothing.
Going back to DPDR for those that are listening, right? So I look at it this way: DPDR is fueled by the anxiety. One of the best things people can do, what I often find the mistake a lot of people make is they make DPDR a separate problem from the anxiety. And
Hmm.
that's because the symptoms are just so weird, right? People, like I say, historically think anxiety is panicking, feeling maybe even physical symptoms, getting scary, intrusive thoughts, but DPDR is like this numbness, this
Yeah.
brain fog. And what they try to do is they try to categorize and put themselves in different boxes.
Hmm.
And then if you put yourself in different boxes, you want to respond differently to each box.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest takeaways I would tell people is throwing everything under the anxiety umbrella. And that even though you're feeling these weird sensations or feelings, to throw it under the anxiety umbrella and respond to all the anxiety the same.
Exactly.
there's a lot of people, and you know this in the mentorship, they're like, Shaan, I don't know if I'm experiencing brain fog, if I'm experiencing DP or DR, I can't identify it.
Mhm.
And I always say, even if you did identify it, the solution for all three are the same. So, these are just man-made words to define an experience, but no two experiences are going to be exactly the same. So what I say for everybody on here is to throw everything under the anxiety umbrella and respond to the anxiety. Focus on overcoming the anxiety and the practice there, not making it a separate problem. Nicole, I don't know if you noticed that. I remember, I think this happened like a year ago or 2 years ago, but I think there was like this Formula One driver whose car got on fire.
Okay.
And he managed to survive, luckily. And he describes his experience, and he describes DPDR.
No, that
And so, like, oh my god, I should find that and I should post it. I should like put it on my story. I should send it to you.
yeah.
But yeah, he talks about like how he was trapped in his Formula One car. I think it was Formula One. And he was experienced, and like he was trapped, and like the car was catching on fire, and he thought that was it. And he was like, I actually felt this weird sense of calm, and I felt like I couldn't feel anything.
Hmm.
And he described like almost like he was like detached from his body at that time. And he felt like
Yeah.
that only temporarily, though. He only felt like that when he was in
As it
bed,
should be.
as it should be, right? And that's what I tell people. It's like, look, this is a defense mechanism everybody has. It has
Yeah.
a purpose. It's a way to protect you from the trauma.
Yeah.
The only thing that's happened is that it's gotten into this feedback loop because it doesn't know what's what's a threat and what's not. So it's just assuming everything's a threat. It's like a smoke detector, right? It's just overly sensitive because it just wants to make sure. Like, would you want a more sensitive smoke detector or a less sensitive? You want a more sensitive one because
Yeah.
even though like there may not be a fire, you still want it. Like, you don't want there to be a fire and miss it. And that's kind of what the DPDR is. And I think the biggest takeaway is a lot of people try to eliminate the DPDR right away. But if you can focus on responding to the anxiety, it goes away as a consequence, not really as an end goal, right? Yeah. Anyways, just had a little ramble there. How do you feel about answering some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Some questions?
Sure.
There was this one question asked where somebody was like, why is it that some people struggle with this for 10 years? Like, why is it a life sentence? Or like, why is it so many people struggle with it for so long? My honest answer, and we have, and Nicole sees it, we've had people that struggle with it for extended period of time. They just didn't know how to get out. It's that simple. Like, the people that get out, like, once you know the steps and once you practice and you're consistent and I think you're being guided correctly.
Maybe they are also like trapped in some kind of avoidance, like they avoid the kind of situations and don't react like as you should in those situations, and then get stuck. We also don't know how they living their lives or anything, so everyone is.
And the other element I like to say is, look, the people that get better, you don't see them. It's always the people that are stuck for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those people that are stuck, this sounds kind of nuts, but the people that are stuck for like 10 years who post on a chat that you see like later in a forum, they often join the mentorship, get better, and their post is still there.
Yeah.
Right? Because and they're not going to be like, oh, hey guys, I've recovered, because they're too busy living life. Like, if you look at Nicole's profile, does it look like she struggled with DPDR? No, it looks like her life is amazing and she's doing some amazing stuff. But from the outside, you're like, whoa, I didn't even know this person could experience that because they're not talking about it. And that's the thing, right? When you get better, you just don't talk about it the same way. And so, like,
Normalize. That's why like the most you can be a billionaire, you can be like, I don't know, it doesn't happen to anyone. You can look like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think it's very important to spread that message and talk about it. So
Yeah,
that I wanted to do this live with you to inspire people.
definitely. And you've been a big inspiration. I know people have messaged me, and if you guys haven't checked out Nicole's story, I mean, I think we talked for like 30 minutes on YouTube, and you break
Yeah.
down, tell your story. So I'd highly recommend people following Nicole. And I mean, it's just amazing to watch, right? Because like Nicole, I remember our first call. I
Yeah.
like remember our very first meeting. I don't know if you remember, but I remember you were like, I'm going through this.
First
Like,
was like so nervous and like my heart was like,
oh yeah.
but I was excited. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And you were like, I'm going through this. I don't know what's happening. And I was like, here's what you need to do. And you're like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. And then, like I say, you crushed it. You were doing really well. You were even on the team, right?
Mm.
So, guys, if you guys apply for the mentorship, the link is again in my bio. Um, what we do is we want to have a chat with you before.
What?
Go ahead.
No, I
Oh no,
just
yeah, go
it's
ahead.
working with you. It was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. It was a great time, and like you seen the have you seen it? It's kind of evolved a lot.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if you could tell, like it's really evolved a lot. But Nicole, like she got really good, and she was even helping with I was showing her like how to identify like who's like a good fit for the mentorship, who's not, and all that stuff. And Nicole, you just did such a great job. Yeah, and like seeing how you're doing now and like all the amazing things you're doing, and I see your Instagram, like you're having a blast, and it's amazing to see that. Um, yeah, just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Do we have
Uh,
some?
yeah, do we have questions? Yeah, do you see any questions that you want to ask? I mean,
Mm,
that you saw that were really interesting.
let me see. I need to scroll.
I saw this one question: how do you combat the spiritual questions? Will they become less intense with DPDR when DPDR lessons? I always say, look, spiritual questions are things about that are boundless. When you're in a survival state, it's not the best idea to look into higher level things like that. Like when you're in a survival state, all that matters is staying alive.
Hmm.
And so when you're at that rudimentary level of survival, higher level thought process like that will be skewed. You'll see it through like a weird lens. So what I say is, what I tell all the clients, and it happens a lot with DPDR members, is and just with all the other anxiety sufferers, I say put that spiritual stuff to the side for now. You can visit that once you're better, but not while you're in this anxiety state, because you're in a state it clouds these kinds of things.
Hmm.
And as you get better, you'll naturally ponder these things. I always say one of the things I learned from anxiety was I was not my thoughts. I also learned I was not my body, right? Because I could feel physical symptoms, but there was nothing physically wrong. So I can't be this body. And then I would naturally be like, okay, well, then what am I? And then I kind of started exploring that. But I didn't do that while I was sensitized. I just did that as a consequence as I was getting better.
Mm.
So what I would say is put those things to the side for now.
Yeah.
Just focus on recovery, and you can ask those questions later. Did you see any questions, Nicole?
Mm, let me see. Oh,
And by the way, guys, I've also made videos on existential thoughts too. Yeah. So if you guys are unsure, you guys could just YouTube it, and I think I've made a couple of videos. So.
I can't see any questions. Maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, yeah. Let me put some up. Mm-mm. Dive into the topic. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna take a look at your question.
Mhm.
Uh, sorry, guys. I'm pulling it up. I'm sorry. Hang tight, guys. Um, Did you also have moments when you had to get used to the moments without derealization? Like when you had more moments of clarity? Like, was that weird for you?
Yeah.
It was weird for me too.
It was like, okay, this feels very easy.
Yeah, it felt really quiet for me.
Yeah.
It's like things got really quiet. I was like, whoa. And I wasn't used to that. I was
Yeah.
used to some sort of internal commotion.
Mm-hmm.
When
Exactly.
things got really quiet, it got like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
And um, yeah, but I would say when people
Nope.
experience that, you'll get used to
You get
it. Yeah,
rest.
so I would say, I feel like there's a lag on my end, Nicole. I don't know. I think my internet's acting weird. I keep talking over you.
No problem.
Logic, the rapper, has experienced DPDR. He has videos on YouTube. Yeah, look, a lot of people talk about it. Like even I get DMs from influencers, and
Yeah.
even a lot of the anxiety influencers like have worked with me at some point. You know, like they were part of the mentorship too. And so like you know, everybody goes through it, and recovery is universal, and it has to, you know, you can't pay your way into recovery or anything like that. You have to put in the work, and you have to do it. And the good news is when you get it, it's earned. And when you get it, no one can take it away from you. Like
Yeah.
nobody. And so that's the amazing part. And I think that's where your confidence comes up.
Mm.
Nicole, by the way, I didn't mention to you, I'm going to be in your side of the world next month.
Really? Where?
I'm going to Dubai.
Really? Oh,
Like
cool.
in less than a month. I'm going in less than a month. I'm going in like 3.5 weeks.
What
I
are you
should
gonna
stop
do
by
there?
Sweden. Huh?
What are you gonna do in Dubai?
Chill. Work.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I'm gonna check it out.
I,
No, I'm honestly, I'm just gonna work from there. Like everyone on the team is not even gonna know. Well, they will know, but like I'm just
oh,
change of
nice.
scenery. You should come down to Dubai.
I just saw my pass has expired, so I was like,
Oh, really? Maybe I've always wanted to check out Sweden. I've always wanted to go to Stockholm.
"Please come to Stockholm."
I
It's
would love to. Is the weather good though? Like I only like go if like the weather's okay.
yeah, but
Like,
okay,
well, how warm is it? What's the temperature like?
it's like spring. Yeah,
What's
spring.
the spring in Texas is very different than spring in Stockholm.
Okay, it's not that warm yet, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful. You should come.
Like what is it like 20 degrees, 15 degrees, like degrees?
Okay, now maybe 12.
12. Okay. That's all right. It's
Okay,
like
maybe
20, it's like 23 degrees here.
it's going to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, well I'll probably stop by after Dubai.
great.
Dubai. I'll message you after that. After this. Can anxiety make things appear more dim vision wise? Get everything ruled out by your doc, and if everything's good, throw it under the anxiety umbrella. That's simple.
Yeah.
So yes. Uh, did you have many setbacks?
A lot. Yeah. Wow. A ton. Um, it was like when I thought I was good, I was fine. And then I got into like a situation that was triggering, and then I got a setback. But the thing is, it's last not that long at the end. It's like
Mm.
becoming less and shorter. But like in the beginning, when I was experiencing setbacks, it was like quite long. But yeah, good question.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to find questions that I have. Oh, Merc is here.
Hi.
Um, um, there's so many people here I recognize, Nicole. You're such
Yay.
an inspiration to them. I told people in the mentorship yesterday. I'm like, look, I'm going to speak with Nicole. She's
Oh,
kind of a big deal.
yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. So, uh, Shaan, how do I go back contacting you? Link is in my bio for that. Do you recommend Nicole's CBD? That's an actual question. Somebody asked that.
I thought it was like my CBD, like if I had my own product, and was like, not yet. But I would
Yeah.
say, uh, I think not to like get better, but in terms of like feeling a little bit calmer, I prefer natural medicine before like um, the Western culture medicine.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, why not try it?
Yeah. I always say like if there's no harm in doing it. I think what Nicole did for recovery and what we all did is primary. Um, as long as you're doing that, there's no harm. I actually think CBD could work even better. Actually, it will work much better if you're focusing on the response. But the
Hmm.
problem is that people use CBD, breathing techniques, all
Yeah,
these things as a shield to feel the anxiety, and they're like, "I'm doing it, it's not working. Why am I not getting better?"
exactly.
And then it really sucks because
I
it's like
remember
they're trying to. Yeah, good.
I remember when I used like a full bottle one day. This was at the beginning.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Nicole, you can't imagine the stuff I took. I took GABA. Dude, I was taking lithium. Like a lot. Like the bottle said, don't take this amount. And the chiropractor that I was working with at the time, he's like, take more. And I'm like, it says
Yeah.
don't take this many. And he's like, I've done it once, it's fine.
Hmm.
And I was just like so twisted up. Yeah, I could have like I took some crazy lithium stuff. I felt like a battery. Like it was just weird. Yeah, but I tried all those things, it didn't work. But now that I'm better, like, there's certain supplements I'll take. What supplements do you take now? Just curious.
None.
None? Yeah.
No.
I take like turmeric and fish
Oh.
oil. But algae, like algae oil, like, because plant based.
Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha? Yeah. Yeah. I took that for my anxiety earlier too.
Oh, okay.
I did like this liver cleanse too. What was it called? I forgot. I took a bunch of stuff. I spent so much money.
Yeah,
Oh
me
my
too.
God, so much money.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember in the mentorship, a lot of us take photos of how many like supplements we had. And we have like photos of it in the mentorship. Um, was there anything you did or say to yourself every day that helped?
Mm, like some days were more tough than the others. No day was really the same. So it was a little bit more like, okay, today was a good day, and I was felt very, I had a gratitude for it. But on the bad days, I was like, okay, just accepted it for being a bad. And when you wake up the next day, you feel more like more power again. So just be humble with yourself.
Be humble.
Hmm.
To sit down. And I always say like it's like the attitude like
Yeah.
behind things.
And you need to have like a much discipline, I would say. Not like find motivation, have discipline.
Yeah, I agree. I
Mm.
agree. You were saying discipline over motivation?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. Yeah. Because people are like, Sean, I don't have the motivation. And I'm like,
Mhm.
motivation's not a good source. It's not a
Yeah.
good source because,
Mhm.
yeah, and that was the thing about you, Nicole. You were very disciplined.
Yeah. Like a
You really
soldier.
were. Huh?
Yeah. Like a
Yeah.
soldier. Yeah.
You really were. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you give yourself enough credit on that. I mean, I think you do, but like you were honestly, Nicole, you were solid. Like you were exactly like do this and you just did it. And I don't know what was that? Where did that trust come from for you? Like why cuz you were stuck doing it on your own and like you didn't know what was happening and then in my opinion, I was telling you what to do and you were just like knocking it out. Like what was that? Like how did you get to that? Because like yeah, what was that for you? I'm curious.
I think it was like a mix between like we totally like you and I we clicked and I felt a big trust like in you and what you were telling me, and I was like, I wanted to prove myself that I could do it, but also prove the group or like you that I could do it. So um, yeah, I think that's why I could develop in the process that well. Yeah,
Nice.
wanted to be a student.
You're a great student.
Yeah.
You were fantastic. Anyways, I was thinking about wrapping it up here. Nicole, is there anything else you wanted to mention? By the way, Nicole, like, what are you up to right now?
Yeah. Mm, I do two things right now. I work for a holistic performance center with B2B sales. We have actually like breathwork classes, virtual and in our studio here in Stockholm. It's very cool. I don't know if you heard about like Wim Hof and you know,
They
it's
do it in Austin every week. I get
really,
invited every week. We have this thing called Barton Springs, and
nice.
we, and yeah, they do the Wim Hof thing, breath work every day, and then they do the ice plunges and all that fun stuff.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And I also work on my own business. I do like training programs, nutrition programs, and right now I'm working on another program called Define Your Purpose, where I got to help people to find their purpose, their passion, and trying to help them to create the life that they want through different like um, not trainings, the word, but I give them some examples and yeah, coach them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's so great to see you do all this amazing stuff. And everybody who follows me should definitely follow Nicole.
Yeah.
And she does amazing stuff. And like I say, she was a student of mine, and she was so good. Like she's an amazing coach. Like I know it. She has what it takes, and she's like the example that like she's like her best student. You know what I mean? Like she's like her own best student. So that's the biggest thing. So yeah, everyone, please definitely follow Nicole. And yeah,
Yeah.
Nicole,
Hope to see you
this is
soon.
yeah. I'll let you know what happens with the whole Dubai thing.
Yeah.
We're figuring out a lot of stuff right now, and I'm leaving on the 27th of next month, and I'll be back on the 7th.
Okay.
So might we'll see if we can coordinate or something like
Yeah.
that.
Cool.
But yeah, again, great seeing you. I'm so glad you're doing well, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad we did this.
Me too.
All right, we'll stay in touch, and yeah, I'll talk to you later, guys.
One. Okay. Bye.